PulseChain Pioneers have been building something big on the chain in the background. Okay, welcome back, baby dolls. I've got my PulseChain logo here. Look at this. This is a picture from 99 Capital. Do you see all these like lines and squares and the cylinder cone and Batman symbols? Do you see that, friends? This is all PulseChain, right? Showing you MakerDAO and all these things, okay? So I call them PulseChain Pioneers. Yes, look at this. Pioneers. You get that? Now, that's why I'm wearing, friends, the Viking hat, the Viking helmet. You know, Vikings, right? They'd go around and they would go explore. That's what they'd go do. Go out and explore, venture into the dangerous seas, past the dragons and the Hydra heads. You've seen the Vikings, friends. You've seen them out here. They go explore to the treacherous lands. They go out there, right? It's very, very dangerous what they go and do. That's why I call them PulseChain Pioneers. If you were to reference this many months ago, before Richard's tweets about pDAI, people would have probably just said, oh, Richard Hart's team. Okay, I think now he's made it clear. I'm separated from it. I'll call them PulseChain Pioneers. PP. Right? Nice and cute. And they have been building something big, my friends. Okay, it is literally... So, when I'm going to explain to you the full pDAI story here, it is undeniable they're building something. Okay, it's undeniable. So, people who are for or against, they're looking at this and they do see something. They do see it. Okay, they do. It's just what they think is happening, that is the discrepancy. And there are many vaults involved. P Maker, like I'm going through 99 as well, friends. There's a lot of things here. P Balancer, P Maker, P everything, friends. P Atropa, all these other stuff, the liquidity and the bridges. You see all these circle, circle, square, P Compound, etc. All right, now let me continue. So we also have P Curve, right? All these, basically all the DeFi projects from Ethereum, yeah. So like I said, it's undeniable fact. You cannot deny this. These are all on chain. They're all on PulseChain. Now let's continue. This has caused controversy, right? Of course it has. Play some Pumpkin G for that controversy. Getting ready for this lollipop, I am. Okay, so people see gaps in the connection between the PulseChain Pioneer wallets. Okay, so I've made the term PulseChain Pioneers. Yeah, who are they? Who are the pioneers? Where do they come from? You decide. You have to guess. I got to guess. Okay, most people, so 99% of the crowd, believe Richard Hart's got nothing to do with the pioneers. Okay, they believe he's got nothing. I'll get into that later. Okay, the 1% of believers, they thought and still think he's got something to do with it, but then he comes out and tweets saying, I don't like it. And then the believers, I guess, still hold. So now it really is a matter of faith, isn't it? Let's continue. Like I said, people see gaps in the connection and they're going to draw their own conclusions. Are the PulseChain Pioneers doing good or bad? Here I am telling you to believe in something. And I will, friends, of course. As a pioneer, we're going to treacherous lands. The Hydra heads, the golems, the level 18 elite mobs. And you're just got your peg nipples going around. And your trusty sword as well. Your trusty sword. Okay? We're going around trying to figure out what on earth is going on here. So let's start, friends, with the believers. So I'm going to separate these next two parts, right? There's going to be the pDAI believers and then the pDAI non-believers. Okay? So the pDAI believers, that camp, okay, they believe PulseChain Pioneers is probably operated at some level by him. Him. Some say he's a duck. A glorious duck. Could be him. Him or his friends or his associates or someone who knows him. They believe Richard Hart may or may not have something to do with it somewhere down the line. Him. Okay, maybe. No proof. And other benevolent associates. So they believe that these pioneers are actively building the world's coolest DeFi city chain for lovers of real DeFi. Okay? So the heart of this DeFi world would be a decentralized stablecoin, pDAI. Some would say that stupid pDAI. That would be the heart of it, okay? That's what it's all building towards. Let me go and show you that picture again. I just put this in the middle, friends. Honestly, I don't understand what the hell's going on here. I'll just be honest. I've got no idea. I see Batman symbols. Is this a glass of orange juice here? There's lines and there's arrows. Something's being built. Okay, we can get to that. And so if this works out, pDAI is the heart and it solves what your friend Sommi here calls crypto's $1 trillion problem. I made that term up as well to summarize what's going on. Now, what is crypto's $1 trillion problem? Because I think whoever can solve this makes the next $1 trillion pretty much asset class within crypto or token itself, or the guy becomes a trillionaire or girl if you can solve this. So the problem is, how do we keep users in the crypto system during a bear market? How do we do that? If you can solve that, I think that's what my guessing, okay? You've solved the big part of the problem. You've got them locked in, okay? Now, if you have a stable coin, yeah, you have, remember friends, you have, luckily you have all these necklaces, okay? You have the risk on assets here. You got your Hex, your Pulse, your PulseX, EHEX, PHEX, Inc., whatever, okay? So, and on here you have your stable coin. You see that? So, if you're selling these, you're collecting a stable coin and you hold that and you earn yield, and then you can DCA buy the dip here. You create a floor for these eventually. Okay, it's symbiotic. That's why we might have a stable coin super cycle. Yeah, I know we've got meme coin super cycle. We might have a stable coin super cycle as well. We'll see. Okay, so the pDAI believers as well, friends. So you're seeing these, right? You go, oh wow, that makes sense. If this had played, okay. But there's another thing, okay? The pDAI believers understand that there is a plausible deniability gap of wallet connections left there for a reason and on purpose deliberately. In a nutshell, it means, see these PulseChain Pioneers, friends? They're like knocking away. Just imagine like there's all these cute little lemmings and stuff just like building away, building these like big skyscrapers and stuff. That's what they're doing on chain, okay? The thing is, you're looking at the city, you go talk to, metaphorically, go talk to one of the engineers and you're like, hey, I don't know where you came from. Okay. You know nothing about Richard Hart. Your name isn't Richard Hart. You're not connected to him. That's checking the wallets on chain. You're not actually connected to him. But you're just here. Okay. And then they don't talk back pretty much. Okay. And they sometimes talk back as a Vietnamese kid. But that's what everyone's saying. And so the believers, when they see this, they go, okay, I get it. If you're building a DeFi system, remember friends, the word in DeFi, decentralized, if you're building a DeFi system and you have a stable coin that's decentralized in the middle, you can't have a face on that coin, okay? Because it defeats the purpose. And so the believers say, oh, because this is a unicorn. No one's ever seen anything like this. So you have to guess. That's why I've guessed that, oh, if I was doing this, I would also disconnect my face. I would do that. I don't want people to think and see I'm definitely on this. Here's my name all over it. I would push them away from it. No, I've got nothing to do with it. That's what I would do. Remember, it's a believer cycle. This is because pDAI is meant to work its way into a decentralized stablecoin that is backed endogenously to the traditional fiat system, having crypto as the collateral. Okay, so that's what makes DAI special. Ethereum DAI, right? So the estrogen DAI that's getting sunset, it's backed by crypto. It's not backed by $1 in a bank account. Okay, it's backed by crypto. That's what the word endogenous means, END. If it's exogenous, it means it's exogenously backed by a US dollar bank account. Okay. And that's what the government actually wants. They want that. So remember, if you're going to do a decentralized stablecoin to be backed, it has to be like this. Okay, let's continue. It's also critical to know this, friends. So Nikolai is the man who made DAI on Ethereum. Okay, he is now dead. Co-founder of MakerDAO dies. He died 5 years after making it. Look, whether you think it's related or not, I'll tell you right now, you'd be a bit interested, aren't you? Oh, what happened to the founder of the... Oh, dead? Okay. Let me read into it. This was his last tweet. The Coconut Intelligence Agency and Mossad and pDAO elite are running some kind of strawberry trafficking entrapment blackmail ring out of Puerto Rico and Caribbean. They are going to frame me with a laptop planted by my ex-girlfriend who was a spy. They will torture me to death. And they did. He's dead. Okay? Drowned in like ankle high water with like 3 bullets in the back of his head. Now, I forgot exactly, but it's kind of something like that, okay? So, if you're making a decentralized stablecoin and you've got these pioneers, do you want to put your name on it? After knowing that, it just like, okay, you don't have all the answers, but you're now looking at this. You go, oh, okay, that is like a tick for, all right, if I had to do it, it would have to be like this. Continue. So he was assassinated. So Nikolai was assassinated. It's also critical to know that all stablecoins are ultimately backed by faith. Okay, so do you know that, friends? Like just because it's $1, they're not all like 100% stable. You know that? There is some duration risk, even with Tether. I think Tether can only cover something like 70% of short-term redemptions right now. I think 30% is like longer. Now, why do they do that? It's because in the midst of the bear market in 2022, they only needed about, I think, 30% of the money there. And you can actually go and see Tether's market cap here, right? So Tether in 2022 had a market cap of 83. It went down to about 65. So it's about 25%. Very interesting, right? Isn't that weird? There's no upside to holding this dollar. Why are you not redeeming it all? It is what it is. People just believed in Tether. That's wild. They're getting no yield, man. You literally have no upside. Why don't you just go redeem it? And do you know Tether redeemed $14 billion, I think, in June 2022? 14 billion in US dollar accounts. Crazy. So if everyone holding Tether actually wanted to redeem, they couldn't all get it. If every single person could. Because I think maybe only 70% is like really, really short term. Now, here's the thing. If you waited a bit, you eventually get it, okay? Maybe you have to wait a month or 3 months or like 6 months or maybe a year, but you eventually get it. But I'm just even telling you, everything is ultimately backed by faith, you know? So like, if people really, really, really wanted their Tether now, yeah, and they all went to redeem, the thing's going down. If there was a real panic. If they thought there was a problem with the liquidity risk, okay, the solvency or whatever. So that's interesting, right? So even when you think there's a super stable system, it's ultimately backed by faith. You need people to hold it. You do. You need people to hold onto it, just hold the coin and not redeem. Yeah, you need a certain number of believers. But you know, that's everything in life. It like stadiums need people to repair it. Schools need people to be there, right? Do you know what I mean? Like sports team needs coaches. Like everything needs someone to run it at some point. They need someone there. Otherwise, everything just like nature takes over and just you become like the Last of Us, like grass growing out of the road and everything else. And it's no different with stablecoins. And so this might be helpful, friends, because to keep it pegged, this might explain the nature of the pDAI story as it onboards faithful believers. And what I mean by the nature, where there's what we call like these confidence rugging events, biblical shakeouts, tsunamis that come out and they'll wash away non-believers, okay? Now, remember, this is the believer's perspective. I'm going to give you the other perspective. That's what they're saying as like, hey, if you got to get this to work, that's why, friends, I could see. I'm like, oh, if you got to get this to work as a unicorn, it has to be people who literally believe we need a decentralized stablecoin. You have to get people to believe it, not who follow Richard Hart, okay? The people who follow Richard Hart's Twitter, they're out. They are out. They're like, oh, okay, cool. Richard doesn't like it. This Twitter account that he says he doesn't even use, I'm out because he doesn't like it, okay? And then that's why I say to you, friends, I'm not trying to posture to anything. I'm just telling you, factually, you're the weakest link in the whole chain. Because if Richard takes a holiday for 2 years, you're gone. You're literally following every word there. You don't actually believe in anything. That's the truth. That's the truth, okay? Now, obviously, that's a bit hyperbole. I guess you do believe in something, but, I mean, think about this, okay? Who would you want to be on your side of an army? The person who's following the instructions of one person who may or may not like it, or the person who says, this is my land, I'm here to defend America, I'm never leaving, I don't care if the president tells me to leave. I don't care if the president goes and says, you know what, Spain's pretty cool, let's go to Barcelona. Do you see what I mean? So these have ramifications for markets, okay? Obviously, don't run with them, these hyperbole, but you understand the story now. Now, friends, that was the believers, okay? The believers. Now we're going to get to something else. And right before we move into that, it's important, right? What do they actually believe in? When I say believers, okay, they believe you got to make a stable coin without a blacklist function where the government just can't push a button. Oh, you didn't vote for the guy I like? Okay, you're out. Oh, you didn't eat your bugs for the day? You're out. Oh, you didn't get your 7th vaccination? I'm out. Okay, you're out, by the way. Oh, you didn't castrate your like 12-year-old son and make him a girl? Okay, sweet, you're out. Okay, so it's a protection fence. Remember, too much power is not good in human hands. So this should be done in privacy. If you're going to make something like this, it's got to be done in privacy. Just remember, Satoshi, okay, friends, this is why you're watching literally the highest value content in crypto. Did you know Satoshi on the Bitcoin talk forums, you can go back, you can actually watch it, read it. When Bitcoin was first running up, okay, actually, I'll show you. When Bitcoin was first running up and it was working, so it used to be like 0 and then it was up like, like up here, like 100x, okay? It went from like tiny amounts. Now it's up to like 10 cents or something, right? I forgot the exact price, but someone on the forum said, wow, Satoshi, let's go advertise to the world that this works. Let's go tell all the governments because they're going to be really impressed with this technology. It's basically the paraphrasing of like, the gist of it. And Satoshi goes, no. Shh, don't say anything. It's way too early. Do not, no. Don't tell them. No, it's too early. Interesting. He says, we're not ready yet. Okay, so telling the world about what's going on, that's Satoshi, man. Bitcoin saying we're not ready yet. So that's why you might think about, the believers. Why hasn't all of this played out the way you think it would play out, even though it's a unicorn, you've never seen anything like it? Well, that might be a reason. Now, friends, I'm going to present the other side, okay? The non-believers. So I have a Chud Jack here. pDAI must go to 0. We have the happy soy boy milk here. And then you got to double up. More happy soy boy milk here. Okay, so this is the people who are like, you must go down to 0. And look, this is 99% of the crowd. Okay? This is literally 99% of the crowd is here. 1% are looking at this as that being good, okay? Now, actually, it's funny. I actually just computed the real percent. It's more like 4%, okay? So it's actually real, friends. If you add up the market caps of Pulse, PulseX, EHEX, PHEX Inc., yeah. Actually, interesting. So, yeah, I know, 99.1 now. The real number is actually 96% on one side, 4% on the other. So this brings us back to the non-believer side, okay? So I'll give fair coverage, friends. It's fine, right? It's markets, man. You got to decide what it is, okay? The non-believers, okay? The other camp. So the majority of this crowd gives a 0% probability to the PulseChain Pioneer workings on chain, right? And ultimately see 2 years of consistent work as bad. So like I said, friends, they see, all this stuff. They look at it and they're like, okay, bad. That's what they're saying. They go, and when I say just say that, friends, just the context, it's been going on for 2 years since PulseChain, before PulseChain launched, 2 days before. Okay, so people see, friends, MakerDAO launched Spark on May 9th, 2023. The day next was May 10th. Richard Hart did the snapshot of PulseChain from Ethereum. It's like he was waiting for Spark, which is where you hold DAI and you earn SDAI, the yield. You earn the yield automatically from the MakerDAO fees, okay? So it's like he was waiting for it. And then the next day, so some people say, no, it's totally random. That's okay, man. So May 10th, he took the snapshot. May 11th, minted pDAI. Yes, so the snapshot was taken. A day later, May 11th, literally, friends, minted pDAI. And then May 13th, the chain had launched, like publicly. Okay? So I took the snapshot and it was already running. They minted pDAI. Now, I'm being honest, okay? Most people's explanations on that 96% of the crowd, because they're looking at Richard Hart's Twitter, they're looking at Richard Hart's Twitter. He's saying, pDAI, infinite minting, you're sucking middleman D, blah, 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 blah. And then everyone on the 4% is like, wait a minute. I don't think this Vietnamese kid was doing this unhinged 2 days before the launch. That doesn't make sense to me. You get it now? You get it? You do get it. So the non-believers saying all that building since that day onwards is random or is bad, okay? So, of course, friends, those people, there are people, they go further and then they check the chain themselves. They go, you know what? I don't know about the narrative. I'm going to go look at everything moving around myself. They go and look at that, okay? They go and look at the chain themselves, and then they see these city builders, right? These ding, ding, they're just chinking away, the crane, they're hoisting stuff up, building a city, okay? And instead of really, I guess, seeing deliberate protocol movement and P maker and P compound and seeing all these things being built, instead of, I guess, like seeing it like that, they basically, metaphorically, what they see is they see tin shed, tree cubby house, tumbleweed. That's what they see. This is what they see, friends. They see this. See this cabin in the desert? They're like, oh, okay, I just see that, okay? But if city under construction is, so the believers, right, this is what they're seeing. They're going, whoa, I see a lot of cranes. I see potential. I see, well, things are getting built, okay? And you see, friends, here are the pioneers. They're looking at stuff. And you're like, hey, Mr. Pioneers, who employed you? And they go, look, they don't know what you're talking about. They don't even reply. Another thing as well, friends. So we have already seen a peg. It's PUSDC to pDAI. And it's been running, look at this, for 7 months. You see that? 200 days. It's been running for, this wild, 7 months. See that? It was at 1. It was pegged at the start, went down. Actually, they pegged it, unpegged it, and then come and repeg it, all right? So that's why you're probably curious, Sommi, what do the non-believers say when they see that? Well, they give like just a 0 probability to that being of anything useful or relevant to the story. They see that. So people who are believers say, oh, that's interesting. Someone is trying to get these pools to work and match together, pioneers. And the non-believers say, random, doesn't mean anything. Because, friends, because the way you're looking at, they're like, oh, but being honest, okay? They're saying if it was important, Richard would have mentioned it on his Twitter. That's effectively what they're saying, okay? And then like everyone else is like, wait a minute, maybe the blockchain speech, maybe doesn't need to talk on the Twitter, all right? You've got to decide, by the way. You, friends, you got to assume I've sold everything. I've got to assume you've sold everything. I always walk into stuff assuming that. You have to assume that, and then you got to make up the decision for yourself. As well, friends, what's most interesting is that people outside PulseChain have no problem seeing the city buildings being built together. That is very important. So this is what I've noticed. This is anecdotally, okay? So I can tell you whenever someone not in Hex, not aware of Richard Heart's streaming days, yeah, when someone comes from outside, they look at it and it clicks fast. It's like, oh, I see a city being built. I get it. Decentralized stablecoin. Tick, tick, tick. Okay, cool. I understand. Lottery ticket can go to 0. All right, I'm in. See you later. All over Twitter spaces and stream threads. How many times we've gone through stories? Real estate people, nurses, doctors, random construction people, random lawyers, teachers. Just like people, just all walks of life, have nothing to do with crypto. Oh, this is my first thing coming in crypto because they just, you know what I mean? The narrative grips them. Now, sometimes the narrative can be like, hey, it's just a narrative in a story. Doesn't mean it's going to work. No. But that is undeniable. This is, we've never seen a narrative like this magnetic. My gosh. Okay. And then anecdotally as well, people in the system, right, who were here for first cycle Hex, looking at Warlord Richard, they were watching Richard's streams, which I'll show you now. People from these times watching Richard's streams, right, they will like refuse this. They'll say, no, I'm still following Old Testament Richard. There's no way this thing can happen. And look, I don't have the answers, friends. I'm just telling you that this is pretty much, it's a very, very common pattern. Yeah. People within the system, they reject that one. It's blasphemy to them, right? Because you got the cult tribal presidential leader, because they're thinking in their mind, hey, if there was anything going on, he would tell us. He would tell all of us. He would go to his Twitter, he would write it all out, and he would tell us. And then you have these new school of people who are coming in who love PulseChain, who do love Richard Heart, who are saying, oh man, you know, decentralized stablecoin, bro. Nikolai's dead. You know what a decentralized stablecoin is? You can't have your face on it. You don't have to work. You just go through all these other things. You can't put your face on it, right? But that's pretty much where the discrepancy comes from. And going through this whole story, friends, it makes a lot of people stress. I can't do anything about that. Look, the higher the stress, the more uncertainty, the more the fear in the FUD. However, the reward you get if it ends up dissipating is that you got like a 400-500x upside. Friends, pDAI, when Richard Hart tweeted about that it being bad, it was 1,500x to $1 at the bottom there. So maximum. So I'm not saying it will get there. I don't know. I'm just telling you, there's no free lunch. Okay, you want the cheap prices, you get the big uncertainty. And then if you want certainty, you're going to get your shitty government bond returns, okay? Now, I've also mentioned here, right, it is only people who read Richard Hart's Twitter as religious gospel who have the biggest problem with viewing the other side, which is very true, friends. Like, every single person who's like a believer pDAI, go watch. I did a 1v9, I did a 1v4, did a 1v10, then Royston came back, it was a 2v10. Literally debated everyone for 4 days, it was over 5 days, it was 4 debates, streams and everything. I always have respect for the other side. I say, there is uncertainty. The price is correct. And their heads explode. They go, oh, but the narrative. I'll go, bro, who are you? You're hearing words in the sky. The narrative means shit. The price is the price for a reason. It's priced in the uncertainty. If there was nice certainty, it would be $1. There obviously ain't. There are puzzle pieces missing. You get it? Just like if you're buying Bitcoin at $400 8 years ago or whatever, yeah, there's no certainty that Roca Negra is going to give you an ETF. Okay, otherwise it would be 200x higher, which is where it is today from $400. You have a Bitcoin spot ETF, don't you? Okay, do you want to buy when you have certainty that BlackRock now likes Bitcoin? Okay, you're paying 200x higher. Do you want certainty that maybe the collateral is being used for pDAI? Okay, maybe, I don't know, not financial advice. Maybe the price is like 20 cents by then. I don't know. Just 100x higher. And that's not even up to $1. So you don't know, right? And you are always navigating uncertainty. So once again, like, that's why, friends, I get it. It's hard, all right? It's hard, and we don't even know if we're right. But if you're going through Richard's Twitter, and this is your gospel, these words, man, he did also say, I can get things wrong. He said that in 2023. He missed the bottom. He can get things wrong. There is a New Testament Richard now. Yeah, it ain't I'm perfect anymore. It's I'm humble Richard, and I can get things wrong. And it's multi-coin world now, Richard. Richard launched, friends, Richard went from one coin only. He launched pump ties, man. There's like 18 plus tickers there. He shills most. Just a meme coin. Do you see what I mean? But I get it. It's tough to navigate. But I know why it's tough to navigate. So it's a cult chain, PulseChain, and then the cult hates one thing, and there's literally, friends, there's 4% of people on one side, 96% of the cult are against it. That's why you get the cheap price. But that's also why, if it works out, it's gargantuan reward. Gargantuan, if it works out. On a fun note as well, friends, you know that bio that I've shown you? He's literally written, Richard doesn't use Twitter. He's literally written it. He doesn't even use Twitter. And he doesn't even mention the word blockchain here, which would imply maybe he doesn't communicate on blockchain. Okay? He does always say blockchain is speech. And that's always like a discrepancy. They go, oh, this one is, it's a nuclear button. He's got to go, friends, he tweeted about pDAI 34 times in March. 34 times. The guy who said risk diode, don't talk about scams, ghost them. Or speak about them generally. Yeah? He literally said, if you're going to speak about them generally and say, oh, I heard a rumor about a certain coin, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, so if you want to know exactly what happened, he started doing that, pDAI tanked, but it kept getting bought up. Yeah, there weren't enough sellers. So then after it recovers, he's obviously listening to the Twitter spaces and everyone else out here. Then he unloads the mega FUD. He goes, you know what? Screw the risk diode. pDAI bad, infinite minting, Vietnamese key, dong, 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 dong. Sucking middleman D, blah, 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 blah. And he got everyone to sell. That's how I interpret it, okay? And like it always happened on the buy. So people might say, no, he was doing it because idiots kept buying the dip and he wants to send it down. Okay, like I said, there's always a bull and a bear. Yeah, so the bears, the soy boy bears were saying, no, he did it because people kept buying, so he wants to fight it down to zero. And then the believers on the other side saying, okay, but then he goes and breaks his own rule on the risk diode, right? So as you get to see, there's always a bull and a bear case. And this is also interesting, friends. Others who dive deeper also have the belief that the PulseChain Pioneers are malicious actors and have brainwashed 1% of users into thinking that there is a plan for pDAI when they are actually intending to keep maliciously extracting for many more years. So as people keep diving, they're like, okay, there's like 10 roadblocks. They get over one roadblock, then 2, then 3. Then they go to like number 7 and they're like, okay, I now see it. So they eventually conclude that, oh, Richard was trying to do something, but something went horribly wrong. That's why he hit the panic button. There really is a Vietnamese kid and his dong is just like turkey slapping everybody. And now there's malicious actors. And I'm not making this up, okay? So the narrative I guess going around now is that people have been brainwashed by people related to the Pioneer wallets who are now convinced, oh, keep buying. I'm going to extract on you for years and years and years. Okay? So we go back to the facts. You might even say, Sommi, I remember you said someone minted pDAI 2 days before the launch. Huh. Vietnamese kids dong? 2 days before the PulseChain launch? Yeah. So when asked about their reasoning, how did pDAI get minted 2 days before the PulseChain launch on May 11th, 2023? Friends, their response, and I'm just saying it metaphorically, okay? Having fun here, but it is pretty much, okay? Their response is literally along the lines of Richard installed feetpix.exe, he got a Trojan, he let a Vietnamese kid run rampant, whitelist his own address, and get access to the chain for 2 years unannounced. That's the only, like, okay, so you're saying he's just been like, someone walked into his house, took a dump in his fridge, and he said nothing. Okay? And he did nothing about it. And now, of course, they're not going to exactly say it like that, but like I said to you, they give you more of the Eric Wall essay. So Eric Wall did an essay, the capitulation part. He basically said, Richard started off with good intentions. This is a new FUD, right? He started off with good intentions, but he messed up because they say, oh, he's fat, or he's dumb, he's stupid, whatever. They use one excuse, and they go, oh, he messed up, and now everything's in shambles. And this was not part of the plan. Yeah, man, it's funny, man. Like, it was like, okay, oh, now you believe he was trying to do something. You didn't believe that last time. So their bias is shown. What? Only after the price goes down? Oh, he had good intentions back then, but this new information is making me feel really bearish. And so when people talk like that, they don't reveal anything about the future, but they tell you about the person. You learn that. So I will tell you, the people in the non-believer camp, okay, they'll use words like you're brainwashed, stupid, they'll say retardio. And look, friends, no mistake, okay? Many people in this camp, they're also holding coins down 90 to 99% after 4 years. So if you are someone holding a coin down 90 to 99% in the past 4 years, I ask you, look in the mirror, stop judging, okay? Stop judging for 5 seconds, look in the mirror, and think about how this would look to you if this happened to you. Where if someone came to you and told you that your coin that has been going up for 2 years, your coin is stupid and you're an idiot. And then you ask, hey, what about your coin? And then theirs is down 99% after 4 years. I just want you to think about, I haven't said any names. I haven't told you any names. I just want you to know how that thinks, how that looks. Say, I'm unbiased, friends. I remove myself out and I go, okay, I've got to make a decision. Yeah, got to make a decision. All right. Now, ultimately, friends, the pDAI price will dictate everything, okay? It's a believer's cycle. So I can't talk the price up. I can't talk the price down. I can't do anything, okay? It's going to do whatever it's going to do. There is literally no way out of this. You have to let the calendar days roll by. And we will have probably more clarity in the next 30, 60, 90 days. There'll be a new story, a new green candle, a new red candle, a new FUD thing, and it will just move on. And whatever comes next, it won't be the final episode. It won't. But there will be a progression in the narrative. I've seen it, friends. Like, as the price moves, the characters change. New people are on board. There's new concerns now. It happened to Hex, dude. Every time Hex went up, Richard's got 9 passports. Richard's dumping. Richard isn't really a billionaire. Oh, it's just like recite. It's FUD over and over and over again. Oh, I don't like the yield. The OA is going to do something bad. It was just always. But pretty much what you find out is, friends, you know when you hear a new voice FUDing something? Yeah. They sold. All right? When they're FUDing something, they sold. They've sold. They click sell. Now they're on a mission to FUD it. Okay? Go ask Johnny Chaos about everyone's Hex experience in 2020. They got videos, man. People literally click sell. Then they're like, oh, I'm really concerned about this stuff. They call it the concern trolling thing. Every time someone clicks sell, they start fighting it. It's a human thing. So you probably want to know, after all this, Sommi, what is your opinion? Friends, my opinion means shit. It literally means nothing. Okay? I am a peanut brain. I mean nothing. Okay? I'm a fart in the wind, a spirit on this earth, and I'll return to dust like when I started. Okay? Now, I personally, I don't think a Vietnamese kid turkey slapped Richard Hart. I don't think a Vietnamese kid had the foresight to turkey slap Richard Hart, to install feetpix.exe, and then mint pDAI on May 11th, 2023, 2 days before PulseChain was even launched. So I'm looking at that event, and I'm like, man, I don't think it was a Vietnamese kid, man. I think it was a pioneer. I think there's pioneers involved, okay? I just don't. I don't. Yeah, I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Okay? Another thing. I don't think pDAI, when it launched, accidentally inflated by 300% supply and then accidentally bottomed out at exactly 555,555x to $1. Okay? I'm looking at it. I don't think that's random, man. I think some of the pioneers were interested. Okay? I also don't think it's random that pDAI was the first logo on PulseX when we launched PulseChain. And it was the first logo. It was the yellow die with the pink and purple around it, the pink and purple ring, okay? So I'm looking at all three of those, and I know, man, I know there's Richard's Twitter, the gospel and everything, and I'm like, man, I've got to weigh everything up. I don't have 100% certainty, but like Richard's new words, they don't take away from what happened there, okay? So I'm looking at the pioneers, friends. I'm looking at the pioneers and their building and everything out here that's been happening for 2 years. And, you know, I get asked this all the time. They say, Sommi, what's going to make you change your mind? What's going to make you change your mind? And I say, in a very friendly way, get those pioneers to undo 2 years of their hard work and point the pDAI, the D0F contract, point that to another contract. I'll look at that contract. Your curve, your balancer, your Aave, your maker, your compound. Get them all to point to something else. I'll be interested. Okay? Because what I'm metaphorically seeing is, friends, I'm literally seeing like 15 flashlights at night, and they're just pointing at one thing. Yeah? They're pointing at this. 15 flashlight spotlights. They're pointing at this D0F. I'm looking at it. Okay? And I'm like, okay, if you don't want me to look at it, point your flashlight somewhere else. That's it. Okay? PUSDC pointed with pDAI. Same pools, arbitrage as well. Okay? So now you have both sides, friends, right? That's what I want to give you. The believers and the non-believers. You got to make a decision. You should assume I'm not even having a position, okay? You should assume I've sold. Just assume that. Assume I've sold everything. I don't actually own anything, okay? Just assume that. You got to make a decision. I'll tell you right now, the market doesn't give a shit about me or you. It's going to do whatever it needs to do. The price action will figure itself out, okay? That's what it comes down to. So now you have both sides. Where do you stand? Well, you've got some clarity on like, okay, I see left, I see right. I don't know who wins, okay? No one knows who wins. No one knows who wins. But it will be very interesting how the narrative will change if pDAI gets to 1 cent. Because then it's 100x to $1. And you just heard me say buying on Richard Hart's first FUD wave, yeah, which was FUD wave number 2. The bottom of that was 1,500x to $1. So if it got to 1 cent, now it's 100x to $1. It will be interesting. I wonder what will happen up there. Remember, the PulseChain Pioneers, are they good or are they bad? You'll figure it out. Like, subscribe, catch you soon.